What's up, you guys? My name is Wolf, and welcome back to LEGO Arts. It's been kind of a while since I've done this series, and I apologize for that. So in the last episode, we did a showcase on Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, where I redid the Batman Armored minifigure. And for this one, this is a very special showcase. Okay, because this one is that, and we're actually doing a showcase on Link from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild game. Now, originally this episode was going to be a showcase on some of the Denver Comic-Con minifigures that I got a couple of days ago, but upon closer inspection with some of the minifigures, I realized it wasn't exactly accurate enough. So, with this minifigure, this is actually a birthday gift for my older sister. And when I was looking at the minifigure, I quickly realized that it's not fully accurate. So I took it upon myself to try and fix it and make it much more accurate from the video game. So so as you can see, Link is in his standard outfit from the game. Sorry, it came so bright. Okay, there we go. Stay like that. So I took it upon myself to do this minifigure, fix it, make it more accurate. And I actually think this came out pretty good. The last time I did a Legend of Zelda minifigure was like a few years ago for another one of my friends, where I made classic Link and classic Zelda for her. So I gotta say that this turned out pretty good. So as you guys know the whole drill, we're gonna take this minifigure, do a review on it, explain my process, why I went with this route, and then go from there. So without further ado, let's get the pedestal out and get this showcase on the road. Okay, so let's take a closer inspection on Link. I took the sword and shield aside for a little bit so you guys can get a better look at the figure. Okay, Harold, keep the focus. Focusing constant. Thank you. Sorry about that. But with this figure, it was mainly a repaint, as well as some slight reworking. Because the detailing was already there. The detailing was good. It was just a coloration that I thought was inaccurate. You could kind of see a little bit of the original color, like on the arms. Originally, this was like a purplish, palish blue kind of thing, and like everything else was very pale. It was very palish. So, and when I looked at some of the photos of Link's standard outfit from Breath of the Wild, I realized that if I'm gonna make this minifigure accurate, I'm gonna have to do like a full recoloring on this figure. So. What I did was I looked at as many photos as I can find on like his standard outfit, and then I took those as references to paint up the suit to make it more accurate like it is in the game. And I think this came out pretty good. As you can see, there's slight detailing on the arms. I didn't do like the full pattern detailing as he does in the game, and a couple of reasons for that. One, I'm still learning on like some of those like detailing work of like that small detailing with painting. I'm thinking about trying a few other things out. And two, there's not really a whole lot of room on a minifigure arm. Keep in mind that with minifigures like these detailing like that is pretty big, and there's only so much you can really do with. There's only so much you can do with the space you have in order to put that on. Even when like making a decal online, there's only so much you can do before you can run out of room. So I worked with the best I could, and it does give a basic representation on on like some of the wrist guards he's wearing. So you can see, speaking of which, he has a wrist guard on his right hand to represent like his archery bow. Speaking with the bow on back here with the archery bow itself, it's very different from some other archery bows that I've done. Because in the past, like when I've done like Green Arrow, Atreus, Dark Arrow, Hawkeye, those bows held up with the same basic idea for where like I cut off like the pre-string along with the arrow, then would like repaint it and then add the string. With this one, I added in a little bit of clay, and then rather than like some of the string that I usually use because I'm kind of on a shortage, I used like yarn string, like the kind of string that you would use to sew fabrics or to stitch up some wounds wounds. I did that as like an experiment to see if it could pull off like that sort of basic archery string. And you know what? It actually turned out pretty good. So I'm thinking about maybe trying this again for like the next time I do an archer minifigure. So this it was definitely a very interesting thing to do, and I'm glad this turned out pretty good. There is detailing on the back, but sadly I can't remove any of these pieces. This is the quiver itself. I can't remove at all because it's glued on, and back here with the holes, that was the holster piece. It's accidentally stuck on, so I cannot remove it. I was hoping to avoid that, but sadly, in order to make sure that this whole thing would stay intact, I had to make some sacrifices. Unfortunately, but it still represents the basic idea for Link, and yeah, this came out pretty good. I guess like the main thing that I really wanted to do was like the headpiece. The head itself, like with the face, I kept the face fine, because I thought this was pretty good representation of Link. But my problem that I had with it was two things. One, the eye color. The eyes were green, so I had to repaint them as blue. It was very difficult to like just center in on the color without damaging the eyes too much. And also the hairpiece, the original hairpiece, it has a few problems with it. For starters, it doesn't have like his pointy ears, like his elf ears. Like the last Link minifigure I did, I took like the hairpiece of an elf minifigure from Lego Elves, like what's it called? Lego Friends Elves. I just know that they do like an elf line, and they had like this character for the hairpiece is the same one that I used for like Jacksepticeye, the guy Dean Winchester, and a few other minifigures, but it has like the elf ears. With this one, with the hairpiece for this guy, his original hairpiece, it was mainly just shaggy blonde, and then a hole at the top of the head where I believe you would put like his hat on there. It didn't really work out. It looks silly, and it was so loose that it would not stay on the head. That pretty much, if I kept that hairpiece, I'd pretty much have to glue it on, which I had to do it with this one, but this one has an excuse, because it's actually a representation of the original design. So I took so like what I did with Kingdom Hearts, I took some clay, then sculpted out, so like the hair that I saw, the hair from the original game. Again, I had to look at a few photos of this to make sure I was getting it correct, and it's not perfect, but it does pull off that representation of who Link is. And on the back, as you can see, got the ponytail. The ponytail is a little bit weird, I will admit that. I kind of wished that I could do better, but again, it gives off that basic representation of Link, so I'm pretty proud of how this hairpiece came out. Before I move on, I'll point out the obvious with the quiver. I had to check again, like make sure the weapons were correct, but the quiver, originally the quiver on this was like the standard for you post it in the back, you pull it over your shoulder, bring out the arrow, and then fire. With Link in the game, he actually has it on his waist. So I cut off the quiver from the original piece. This was actually the original piece. Then glued it down here to match up to how Link pulls off in the game. So I think this came out pretty good. And on the plus side, this doesn't interfere with articulation in his arms, in his legs. This does interfere with the fact that you cannot remove the legs, but I don't think that's going to be how this character goes. Now, before we wrap up the video, let's go with some of Link's other weapons, specifically like the Master Sword and the shield. The sword, I will admit, it's could have come out a little bit better, specifically like the handle and the blade. The blade's a little bit weird. I had to redo the blade twice, and I found out that with this specific kind of molding clay, if you leave it, if you mess around with it too much, it will actually bend in a specific direction. Enough to the point for where I had to for where I had to like take two items, then squish the blade in between them, so that way it would flatten. It would like straighten out into a specific angle. And I don't know why this happened, because I used the same material to like when I made the Blades of Chaos for Kratos, and those blades came out good. They didn't flatten in any direction. So, it's either you have to leave it on a flat surface for a while before messing around with it, or you need like a harder clay, you need like a harder material in order to sculpt the blade, like the same kind of clay that I used when I made the Elucidator and Dark Repulsor for Sword Art Online. But anyways, with the handle, the sword handle is a little bit tricky itself. Because I saw in the photos of it, it has sort of like a wing design, and a little bit of paintwork. I managed to pull out the paintwork good, but the wing design, I will admit, is not fully accurate. Anyways, I was hoping that this character would have like his own custom sword, but at the booth I was at, the classic Link did have the sword, but it was all in the style of the Voltron minifigure. Now, I guess they used that as like a substitution for the Master Sword, but I don't think it pretty much matched up with Link if he was running around using the blazing sword. But all in all, this does give off a good it still represents the Master Sword. Like, you see this and you recognize it like, oh, it's his Master Sword. And it is a first attempt at customizing the Master Sword. Like the last Master Sword I used, it was just a regular knight sword that I painted up to make it look like the sword. But what I'm also really proud of is the shield. This is, again, the second attempt that I made at this shield, and this didn't turn out horrible. Granted, it's like some of the detailing work could be better, but again, I am not 100% skilled at stuff like this, so I'm obviously gonna mess up, but just keep trying, and eventually you get better at it. And with doing the shields, I don't know where the shield came from. I think it was like a Mega Bloks product line, but the original shield was something that I had lying around in like my bin of bricks, that I wasn't using for anything else. I added in some clay, I sand off, I tried to even out the shield itself, because it had like this dragon head symbol that I had to sand off a bit. I sanded off like the top parts, and then a bit on the sides, because again, I don't know where this came from, but it was like a Mega Bloks product line, and then went back, did the paintwork. I tried to add in the Triforce symbol, as well as, I think it's an eagle, about what it is. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of Legend of Zelda, but I do recognize the game series. So, I think that this wasn't horrible. I have created worse things in the past, and it has been a really long time since I've done Legend of Zelda. So to see this not turn out horrible, well, I think came out good. And I also tried out this new thing that I want to do. So as you can see on the back here, there's like something in the shields. This is actually a bit of masking tape that I added in and painted up, with black. And the idea is that like you take the Master Sword, you plant it in here, and here. You guys see where I'm going with this? Say for instance, I wanted Link to wield the bow, but I still wanted him to carry the shield and the sword. So you put the sword in the sheath here. You then take it back. You then attach it carefully. You then attach it or slide it in here, and then boom. This way, Link can carry both the shield and the sword, easy peasy. Or if you're like, what if he's not carrying weapons at all? With the bow, you can pretty much just slide it off in here, and then this way he can carry all of his weapons. So this was, I gotta say that in the end, this actually came out pretty good, and I'm pretty satisfied with this. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up and talk about a few projects that I have going on. And that does it for this episode of LEGO Arts. Again, I'm very proud of this minifigure, of how this turned out, because since I haven't come back to this topic in a long time, I'm amazed with how well this went. And again, this is a birthday gift for my sister, so hopefully she'll love this. I'll love this with the final results, because I worked really hard on this. I tried in with a few new skills with this minifigure, and I'm pretty proud of how the final product went. And if you guys want me to do like more Legend of Zelda minifigures in the future, like you want to see different versions of Link, versions of Zelda, versions of some of the enemies they fight, let me know in the comment section below, and I'll see what I can do for the future. Now, with some other minifigures going on, I just finished working on my custom Iron Man minifigure. I finally finished with that one. And I recently purchased. I went on eBay and bought like some of the minifigures that I couldn't either find at the con, or figures that I feel like perfect for what I have in store for Marvel. So for a Marvel showcase. So they've just been shipped, and hopefully will be here as soon as possible. So that way we can finish things up and do the in-game LEGO showcase. LEGO Ruby is coming along pretty well. I just applied on some of the main decals on Weiss, Ruby, and Yang. Blake is almost finished. I need to finish up her legs and then add in her coat. Same thing with Ruby, and I pretty much need to finish up some of their hair pieces, apply on some accessories, and then that showcase should be good to go. And also, so in a moment for where I was bored, I came up with a new idea on a showcase it's not necessarily gonna be a minifigure showcase, but it will be a Lego-like showcase. I will leave it at that. And anyways, if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell for notifications. It really helps us work on Let's Plays, LEGO projects, and we're really here to have some fun. So anywho, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, comment below, share it to your friends, subscribe to YouTube, follow me on Twitch, and he's a half of the road. Whoa! Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. What do you guys, Smootherises?